Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Hammer Territory podcast. This is episode 259. I am your host, Brad Rowland, coming to you on a Sunday evening. As we're recording this, it's probably going to turn to September. It's the end of August, into September. It's almost midnight, and I am joined, as I rarely am, honestly, by Stephen Tolbert. Stephen, thanks for doing this on Labor Day weekend. What's going on?
Hey, buddy. Yeah, not a combination we typically go with. Scott's out of town for a little while. You were out of town for a while. It's that time of year. People are traveling. So, we do what we can to get a pair on here. But yeah, it was not a great weekend for the Braves, to be honest. They did salvage a game Sunday night, which we're going to talk about. But it was a rough series up in Philadelphia, lost 3 of 4. Offense didn't have a great weekend, but there were some things to talk about. There's some interesting storylines that we're going to get to, but it's always good to be with you, man.
Yeah, you as well. We have not broken the glass on the most rarely seen combination, me and Sean. That might happen this week. That might happen. We'll just stay tuned, everybody. But if you are new to the podcast, please subscribe to Hammer Territory, anywhere you get your podcast. We cover the Braves all year round. We don't slow down at all, and that includes right now on Labor Day weekend. So here we go. Yeah, it was, like you said, not the best weekend. They did salvage a win on Sunday evening to avoid what would have been, look, the results, we've all covered this, but the results don't matter a ton right now. We get that, but you don't want to get swept in 4 games by the Phillies. Like that's no fun for anybody. So going out and winning a game on Sunday Night Baseball, ESPN, primetime game, standalone game, to get that win and do it also in like pretty fun fashion at the end with Drake Baldwin hitting a 2-run homer to win it, not walk it off, but to win it in the 9th inning. That was fun, and the vibe is just way better. And look, Drake Baldwin has been a positive story in a season that doesn't have a ton of those all year round. We've talked about him quite a bit. There's been the persistent, I would say, National League Rookie of the Year race around him, as there should be. He is certainly one of the favorites. I know Braves fans think that he is the only favorite, and he's not. He's right up there with other guys, but this is a big moment for him. I don't want to overstate it, but this is the kind of thing that can perhaps have a outsized impact on the National League Rookie of the Year race because it was a standalone national TV game. Like, voters are human, and they might remember, hey, Drake Baldwin had this walk, whatever. It's probably little, but it could matter a little bit. And I have to add, before we talk about the usage again for the 10th time, I thought it was fun to see that he didn't even start the game. Like, it was an impressive swing as well. Like, opposite field against the lefty is like not what you expect him to do. So a nice moment for him in the midst of a rough weekend.
Yeah, I mean, there's this ongoing debate about Drake Baldwin and sitting versus lefties and righties and how much he's playing. Thought it was notable that he hit this homer off a lefty. Obviously came off Alvarado. I think it was like a 99-mile-an-hour pitch, and he took it to left field. I mean, the dude is incredibly talented, and he has slowed down a bit in the second half. I think that's fair. We've talked about that. Other guys around the National League have had better August, and that's why the National League Rookie of the Year race is where it is. But he still shows you from time to time what he's got and why he's so special and why some of us believe he should not be just automatically sitting against lefties. And I know he did play against a lefty the other day, I think against Suarez, or it might have been Sanchez. I can't remember which one. But the Phillies did throw 3 straight lefties to end the series, the last 3 games. He sat 2 of them. I don't love it, but it was a good swing. That was a hell of a swing against one of the toughest lefties out of the bullpen in baseball. And, he put it opposite field in the biggest spot of the game.
I would like it very much if the organization would take the big picture view on everything that's happening right now. But as Alex always says, as you know, Stephen, that the lineup card is snits. He always says that. I don't think that's the best way to do things when your season is over, but that's what it is. And for whatever reasons, it is always going to defer to Ozuna. And I have the numbers here. It's kind of convenient because we're wrapping up August, heading into September. In the month of August, Baldwin started 19 games. He did play more than that, but he started 19 games out of 29, which means he sat 10 times. Remember at the deadline when we were talking about this, and it was like, surely he's going to play almost not every single day, but almost every day. Well, he's not. So he's not doing that, Steven. He played essentially 2/3 of the games in August. Over that same period, 29 games, Ozuna started 22 games. And as a reminder, Marcell was he was hitting well early in the month, late July, early August. He didn't have a bad month. It was an OPS in the 700s. Like, he was fine. But this is a 34-year-old DH-only player who's on an expiring contract. The definition of a guy who you should not be prioritizing right now in a loss season. And Drake Baldwin sat 10 times in the month of August. And I thought it was a good opportunity to bring this up, not to just bang the drum once again, but because he homered against the lefty, it was like, hey, the barrage of tweets happened. I'm like, oh, see what happens when he plays against lefties? And I'm not saying he's always going to kill lefties. He may not. But look, even if he didn't, he should be. Wouldn't you want him to like just face left-handed pitching and like see it for reps and improvement for the future and all kinds of things? I don't know.
Yeah. And now they're doing this thing where they're DHing Acuna. I think this is the second game.
Yeah, and I'm okay. By the way, I don't know about you. I'm okay with that if they think I'm sure it's related to like workload for Ronnie, yeah. And for me, if Ronnie needs to DH, fine with me. Yeah. But just figure out a way to play Drake Baldwin more than 2/3 of the time would be cool.
Yeah, and that's what happened tonight. They DH'd Acuna, so I think Eli White got the start, and Jake Fraley came in midway through the game for him. So it is. Listen, it would have been a hell of a lot easier if they just traded Ozuna. I mean, it would just made it life.
Yes,
because Alex does defer to Snit, and we've known this for years. Alex does not interject on the lineup. I've never fully understood how that works. Like, if you're a GM, you acquire the players to be utilized a certain way. Like, you acquire guys to come out of the bullpen a certain time, and you acquire guys to come off the bench at a certain time. Like, it doesn't seem like it's possible to just defer the lineup to somebody else completely. Like, it seems like it would have to be in tandem. But Alex has always said, Snit has the lineup. I'm not interfering. It's his call. And we knew, I mean, we said it, you guys said it the night of the trade deadline, that
we knew
if Ozuna's on the team,
he's
going to play him a bunch. And that's what's happened. And, that's what's going to happen the rest of the year. There is no changing Snit's mind. In his mind, whatever he thinks is the best matchups for that night, against that pitcher on that day, that's all he's thinking about. He is not thinking about 2026. He's not thinking about Drake Baldwin. He's not thinking about Rookie of the Year. He's not thinking about any of that. And I guess there's a certain innocence and purity to that, where he's just trying to win the game every night. But, I would like the organization to have a little bit broader lens here of things that matter more than the individual results of games when you're this far back. It just doesn't make much sense.
Yeah. If the Braves were even like 7 or 8 games out of the wild card right now, I would understand it more.
Yeah.
I still wouldn't like it, but I'd understand it more. Like, if they didn't have, I'm going to look right now just to make sure I'm not crazy. I think this is still the case. Yeah. The Braves still, according to Fangraphs, have a 0.0% chance to make the playoffs. It's not actually 0.0, but it's like 0.002 or something. Like, It's not going to happen. So yeah, I'm thinking about Moneyball right now. The old, the Art Howe scenes in Moneyball when he says the lineup's mine to Billy Beane in those. And I guess that's kind of the firewall that some organizations want to keep. Alex believes in that. Obviously Snit does. And, there has been a move, at least purported move, some places to, like, the front office obviously has more power than it's ever had in baseball. The manager does less than they ever did 30 years ago. You know what I mean? But for whatever reason, they're drawing that line. And you're right. I mean, I at least, if Snit's entire focus is winning that night, I kind of get it. But I also think even in that lens, Snit tends to over rely on platoon, like not even platoon splits, like just literally righty lefty. Like, pitching wise too, he does the same thing pitching wise. He's very traditional in that way. And sitting Baldwin, I'd actually love to know what people think Baldwin's baseline against left-handed pitching actually is, because his numbers are pretty good this year, but the sample size is so small that I don't know what that means. But he isn't like a profile of a guy who like can't hit lefties. It's not like he's gonna be a disaster up there. So I don't know. We don't have to belabor it too much, but
yeah. And Snit has always been huge on individual batter versus pitcher splits. Like if you have any sort of history against a dude, it could be 4 at bats from 7 years ago. But if you had 2 hits in those 4 at bats, you're going to play. Like he's big on that. I've never personally put much value in sample sizes. It's because it's always tiny sample. It's always like 7 at bats, 12 at bats. But Snit has always, I mean, not just this year, always used those heavily to decide who plays, who doesn't. It's just a different, it's just a different way of deciding stuff that I don't necessarily agree with. I think Alex might be to some point of like, this guy's got another month left in his like illustrious Braves career. I'm not sure how many boats I want to rock. But like we've talked about many times, there are some very real world consequences and benefits to playing Drake Baldwin as much as possible. It's not just an award. Like there's some very real stuff attached to it that matters a lot. So I imagine it's put Alex in a bit of a tough position, but you know what? It would have made it a hell lot easier if you just traded Ozuna at the deadline, and they didn't do it. So they are where they are.
Yeah, obviously he could have vetoed it. We'll never know if he did. Alex said he didn't, all those things. But you're right. Just to say this in case anybody misses it, yes, it'd be nice for Drake to win the award, but it also that him winning the Rookie of the Year award gives the Braves extra draft capital, and that's the reason why this matters as much as it does. So, and by the way, even if that wasn't the case, Steven, I don't know about you, I would still argue Baldwin should play more, even if that rule did not exist. If this was 5 years ago, pre that rule, I would still think Baldwin should play more.
And not even more, just I don't like that he just sits against lefties like most of the time.
It shouldn't be an auto.
You want him developing against lefties if nothing else.
Especially in this season, this part of the season where the results simply do not matter. In fact, the Braves are, I believe after today, even with the win, they're fourth still in the, I'm looking at Takeathon right now. They're fourth in the lottery odds right now.
And they were third. I think they were third this morning. The win might have cost them. I think they were third this morning.
The win might have cost him is a perfect thing to say at the end of August. Okay, Steven, we'll get to some more stuff coming up in a second, including Chris Sale's return. That was a big story from the weekend. I want to wind you up on Cal Quantrill still being on this roster and other things. It's coming up after a word from our partners. The dog days of summer means the MLB is fully heating up, and so is your shot to score big. Download the Pick 6 app for the easiest way to turn your baseball takes into actual cash. It's crazy simple. Just pick more or less on the stats for 2 or more of your favorite players, and boom, you are in the mix for big cash prizes. No gimmicks, no weird rules. And get this, all new Pick 6 customers will instantly get $50 in bonus picks on just a $5 entry. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app right now and use code FOUL. That's code FOUL. New customers play $5 and get $50 in bonus picks instantly. Ride the upside where a few bucks can turn into a bag only on DraftKings Pick 6. Crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 bonus picks that expire in 14 days. 8/24/25 at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. Terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
All right, Steven, let's go to the weekend's results that were not about Sunday and Drake Baldwin. Just to say this out loud, the Braves went at 16-13 in the month of August. If the season wasn't over already, that would actually be a pretty good month. Like, even if they had been trying and this stuff mattered, that's not an awesome month. But if you extrapolate 16-13 over the season, you're playing pretty well. That's a playoff team for a month.
Yeah, I mean, how the Braves won and lost games the way they did when they had one of the best rotations of baseball, and how they've won and lost games now with one of the worst rotations of baseball makes no sense. Obviously the offense has picked up a ton and they've actually been able to win a 1-run game. But I mean, the fact that they had Chris Sale, Spencer Swallenbach, Spencer Strider, Grant Holmes, all pitching like all-stars at one point in the season and could not win a game is incredible. Especially when you look at the August they just had with the starters they had on the mound most nights. I mean, it doesn't make a lick of sense.
I mean, they're still 19-31 in 1-run games for the season, which is abysmal. It's not quite as bad as it was, but that's still terrible. Like, that's one of the worst records in the league, and that's part of the story of the season. But anyway, Friday's game was another one of those. We could breeze by it, but the Braves had 12 hits and scored 1 run on Friday. They were 2 for 12 with runners in scoring position. They left 10 on base. A not so fun stat that I don't know if I've said out loud. Maybe you guys have on with you and Sean at some point, and I'm not remembering it. But the Braves are leading Major League Baseball in runners left on base for the season. That's not surprising if you just watch the team, but I don't know if I've ever said that out loud. So that's a true stat. They are number 1 or number 30, however you want to rank this, as far as most runners left on base this season. And that's with, like, they've actually been middle of the packish in some of the WRC plus numbers. They've had a lot of runners in scoring position, runners on base situations, and they have not done very well in them. And guess what, Steven? That means you don't score very many runs.
I mean, that might be the stat of the season, quite honestly. If you look at why the Braves were losing games early in the season when they had all their pitching and what put them in this hole, it's because they couldn't score. And one of the reasons they couldn't score is they never hit with runners on base. It was the strangest thing I've ever seen. A team just could not hit with anybody on base. And it has got better in the second half. The offense has picked up, but they still go through these bouts of tons of hits, tons of guys on base. They've been walking like crazy in the second half. They've got base runners everywhere, and they have scored more runs in the second half. But they go through these bouts where they just can't hit with a guy on base. And Bryce Elder pitched well on Friday night. I mean, they had opportunities to win the game. They should have won this game, quite honestly. I think they outplayed the Phillies on Friday night. Dylan Lee has had like a weirdly bad second half, which, we're not have to get into tonight, but like he gave up kind of the crucial run, and it was just another kind of frustrating loss.
Yeah, it was good Bryce Elder. That's nice to see. We've been negative about Bryce reasonably, I would say, this year, but a couple of nice little flashes from him recently after it had gotten really bad for a while there. So that's nice to see him kind of bounce back. Saturday is really beyond Baldwin. The headliner of the weekend is the return of Chris Sale. They lost the game on Saturday. It was not the fault of Chris Sale. It was his first start since June 18th, so like 2.5 months. There was the discourse that we also talked about like whether he should even come back or not. And I know you said the same thing that I did and Scott did, like good luck stopping him if he's healthy. But they took their time. He threw a full rehab schedule in the minors. He was obviously ready to go. And honestly, man, he looked like Chris Sale. Like he looked awesome on Saturday, which makes me feel better about the whole process. It's like he was obviously ready to go. And in August, like you can't tell that guy not to pitch if he's like that ready. He's obviously was very ready.
I don't know about you. I was not expecting him to look as good as he looked. Obviously that was during college football. So, he had multiple TVs going, but I made sure one of my screens was Chris Sale because I just wanted to see how he looked. 9 strikeouts in 6 innings against a very hot lineup. Obviously the Phillies had scored 19 runs 2 games earlier. And listen, that's a guy, and I really hate that we're going to be 2 years into his Braves career and he's still not going to have a playoff game. But that was a guy they got, I guarantee you, specifically for the Phillies. Like,
oh yeah,
they had such problems with the Phillies in 22 and 23 that I guarantee you the reason they went and got Chris Sale for 24 was because they thought they were going to see the Phillies again. And Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber, of course, have killed the Braves. And he's a guy I guarantee you they got with the Phillies in mind. And you saw why on Saturday. Like, he's a monster. And God, if we could just get that guy into a playoff game healthy, it could really turn around the Braves' postseason woes. But, last year they made the playoffs. He wasn't healthy. This year he's healthy, but they're not going to make the playoffs. So, but it was fantastic to see him. I was stunned how good he looked.
Yeah, he's just a dog. We all understand that. But, man, I was thinking about this during that start as well, or maybe even after it. Remember early in the year, there was like a mini freak out about Chris Sale?
Yeah.
Like in April. And we're wrong on the podcast a lot, but we were not wrong about Chris Sale. We were like, guys, don't worry about Chris Sale. Like, look at the underlying numbers, all the things. And Steve, I don't know if you've looked at this. His ERA now for the season is 2.45 and 16 starts. So, like, it's funny what happened there, but when he has pitched, he has been awesome. And yeah, if you had just teleported from June to late August and watched him pitch, you wouldn't have known he had been hurt for 2 months. Like, there was no evidence of that whatsoever if you just watched the start. And that's awesome to see. So take it easy with Chris Sale. Like, give him extra days or whatever you got to do in September. Don't push him at all. If there's any doubt at all, take him out of the game, all those things. But, something to watch at least down the stretch that's fun. Because there's a while there where it's like, man, if it wasn't until Waldrep came up, it was like if it wasn't Strider pitching, everyone was like, what are we watching this for? What are we watching this for?
Well, and I think, I mean, Paul Skeens has been incredible. And of course, Zach Wheeler got hurt. Christopher Sanchez has been good. But had Sale stayed healthy, I mean, he had as good a chance as anybody to win the Cy Young for the second year in a row. I mean, if he had just pitched all the way through like normal, he had gotten so hot. He obviously got off to a rough start in like the first 2 weeks of April, but since then he's been as good as he was last year. I think he would have won the Cy Young if he had stayed healthy the whole year.
I mean, he certainly would have been right there. I mean, I think Skeens and Sanchez is like the 1-2 right now. But look, I just pulled this up. Even if you include everything, so he missed all of his time, he is currently 15th in the National League in Fangraphs WAR for pitchers.
Yeah,
and he missed 2.5 months.
Yeah,
so he would be comfortably in the top 3 or 4 if he had not gotten.
And in terms of like name value, now Skeens is well known, but he's not more well known than Chris Sale. I mean, at least in baseball, like if Chris Sale is up there, he's got the cachet. Obviously, if the Braves had a better season, it would have helped. But I think I think he had a really good shot at winning Cy Young if he'd stayed healthy.
I'm glad he won it last year, and he deserved it. He was awesome. Yeah. On the Chris Sale front, it's not really about Chris Sale, but I already teased that I would wind you up, so I have to. I think a lot of us assumed, not for sure, but assumed that when Sale came back, they were probably going to part ways with Cal Quantrill. I know you talked about it with Sean on our last episode on the feed after the debacle on Thursday, was it? Wednesday? One of those? Thursday. But as of now, and on Saturday, Snit was asked about this. Snit told the media that he's going to actually stay on the roster and be in long relief. That has not happened yet because they have played 2 close games. And I assume he is going to be the last person in the bullpen. We saw John Brebbia today in a 1-run game, but John Brebbia had not been in the majors for like months. And he came up today and is clearly ahead of Quantrill in the pecking order of the bullpens. And that would put Quantrill dead last in the bullpen. But hey, Steven, what do you think about Kyle Quantrill being still on the roster and in the bullpen now, seemingly?
I'll say this. If you're somebody who wants the Braves to lose games for like draft position, this was fantastic news. I mean, that was right. I mean, that's as good a guy as you could have on the roster if you want to lose games. I was stunned. I mean, we did a whole, like the last half of our episode, we were already opening up, Quantrill's dealership in whatever his hometown is.
I had a healthy laugh about that, by the way. As I was putting together the YouTube video, I was laughing quite a bit at the outro.
Yeah,
but, he's still around.
Yeah, very surprised. I mean, I don't know. Obviously, tomorrow's September, so there'll be a couple of September call-ups. Mm-hmm. One of them is always a pitcher. So the bullpen is going to get deeper. So you might not ever see this guy. But I was, especially since the Braves have some like legitimate young, interesting, possible future bullpen pieces that are kind of ready to go in AAA. I don't know why you're wasting a roster spot on this guy who's a free agent at the end of the year. He has no value for 2026 or beyond. He's not good now. He's terrible, actually. Like it seems like a Carrasco situation, except with Carrasco, they let him go. And this guy, he stayed. Maybe you have insight on that. I was for sure he was off the roster when Sale came back, and that wasn't the case.
I do not have insight. That was one that I was surprised as well. I don't think it matters that much, to be honest. Like the outrage is probably bigger than the impact, but it was a weird one. I'm kind of glad that Walker Buehler signed somewhere else before we did a podcast, because I'm sure everyone was asking. I'm not sure if you got the same tweets that I got. It was like, are the Braves going to sign Walker Buehler? I was like, maybe. I mean, they've signed everybody that they could have signed. Carrasco, Fetty.
Who did he sign with?
Philly.
Oh, okay. That must have happened today. I missed it.
It was today. So anyway, that's another guy. I think our guy Gore Vidak reported that Munoz is coming up.
He's probably presumably
Monday. Yeah, that'll be an extra arm. And I know when I talked to Eric Cole last week on the podcast, we talked about the Hayden Harris weirdness. I don't know why he's not up, but anyway, we're gonna do kind of the reaction to that versus the pre-reaction to who they call up, because we don't know. So we'll see later on. Probably on Monday morning we might hear who would they call up for September.
Okay, KP, this is your first Arena Club experience. We're going to open a slab pack together. So first off, we're going to buy one of those $25 slab packs, and we get to see what is in the pack. There it is. The Grail, which is the best card in the pack and worth the most. There are some other cards that we're chasing, and you can see the entire lineup so that you know what you're in the running for. There's the Yamamoto signed card. Now, let's open up our pack and see how we do. We have ourselves a really cool graphic, and then a Shohei Ohtani 50-50 card from last year. What do you want to do? Should we sell it right back to them for 16, or should we keep it?
You should give it to me. I'll keep it.
Good answer. Fine, I will give it to you. Since the Blue Jays didn't get Ohtani, you can get this 50-50 card instead. Use the code FOUL, F-O-U-L, to get yourself 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase. Yes, you get to keep that card if you want it. They send it to you. FOUL at arenaclub.com/foul.
Okay, Steven, another positive thing from Sunday. So Baldwin was the hero of the game, but Hurston Waldrep has been an awesome story for a full calendar month now. He pitched today in Philly. It was his biggest test to date, like by far. We've given him credit while also acknowledging he has not faced the most difficult schedule of opposing offenses and things. But there's no frills here. On the road against your rival, ESPN national TV, standalone game, Philadelphia's left-handed bats, all that. And he goes out and he throws 5 2/3. He did walk 4, but struck out 9. The only run that he allowed was a solo home run. There were some jams, but he got out of them, pitched really well. And at the end of August, he throws 5 starts and has a 1.01 ERA. 35 2/3 innings, 4 runs allowed, 33 Ks, 11 walks. Like, actually, our guy Sean, I don't know if you saw this or not. I know you were in and out today. Our guy Sean pulled this stat. It's the lowest ERA by a rookie over a month with at least as many innings in a month since Hideo Nomo in 1995. Like, that's very, very, very impressive. And I thought it was a real test for him, and he obviously passed it with flying colors.
Yeah, I mean, Sean and I talked about it on the last show. Like, he has a legitimate case for not just rookie of the month, but like pitcher of the month of the whole league in August. We were looking at some of the guys, but it's not like, do not be surprised at all in a couple of days when they announce all the players of the month, pitchers of the month. If Hurston Waldrep wins that award, again, not as rookie of the month, but as just pitcher of the month, because that's how good he's been. I really can't believe in a good way this is where we are with him. He really looked like he was kind of lost and at a dead end not that long ago. And that last start against Miami, where he had no strikeouts, he had base runners everywhere. You're like, all right, are they making adjustments? Are they starting to figure them out? Comes back tonight against a really good lineup, bunch of lefties, and has 9 strikeouts in 6 innings or 5 2/3 innings. He did have 4 walks. I think one of them was intentional, so 3 walks. Just incredible. I mean, what he's done with his repertoire, what he's done with his mechanics. Outside of Drake Baldwin, let me think about this before I say it. Outside of Drake Baldwin, is Hurston Waldrep like the second best story of the year as we sit here right now?
I mean,
what's next? What else is on that list?
It's probably one where like it might change. Like if he cools off, it might change. But at this very moment, yeah, he's up there. I mean, how many positive stories are there? There are not that many. No. Baldwin is the only one that's like shined through the entire way. Everything else has either been, in and out or kind of like just meeting expectations. Like guys like Sale and Acuna are supposed to be good, and they have been good, right? Yeah. Like that. But as far as like guys who have exceeded expectations or like broken out, you could have said Schwallenbach early in the year that he got hurt. But yeah, I mean, it's Baldwin and maybe it's Waldrep. By the way, to your point about pitcher of the month, the only other person, like there are a couple guys who have similar months going right now. Cade Horton, who's also a rookie of the year candidate that Baldwin is battling with, has a 1.2 ERA in August. There are not that many guys though that have better ERAs and better like peripheral stuff. And I think it'd be smart. I mean, Trevor Rogers, but that's an American League pitcher. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to see a ton of other competition for him. So yeah, I mean, as far as the great story list, he came out not nowhere. We all know Hurston Waldrep, his first round pick. But given where we were, I mean, think about it, Stephen, a month ago. If anybody told any of us that he was going to even make 5 starts in the month of August, it would have been like, whoa, okay, that's weird. And then for him to do that and then have literally a 1 ERA, and yeah, his FIP's like 2.5. Okay, cool. Like no one has a 1 FIP, so it's a little bit good. It's a little bit of good fortune, but like he looks like a real starting pitcher, which was that was far away, like not that long ago.
Well, not only that, but what if the Speedway Classic didn't have a rain delay and Spencer Strider just pitched that game?
Right. I'm assuming he would come up at some point because
he might not have been up till like September.
He was not coming up. It's a good thing to remember about this is that he was not scheduled to pitch. He had to get in his car and go to Bristol, Tennessee to pitch. And then he pitched so well that they were like, you got another shot.
And he was not pitching this well at AAA either.
No, I mean, the prospect guys that we trust, I mean, dating back to like in this season, like April and May, there was like, man, I don't know if he's going to be able to be a starter.
Yeah.
That was like a thing that was happening.
Yeah.
And not like nobody said he definitely couldn't be, but it was not a lock. And to him to do this for 5 starts. So we could move on, but it's like awesome story, bright spot. I'm glad they won the game. Not to get, he didn't get the loss or whatever, but like it's cool that they won this game because it just all the vibes are better with everything. But he just deserved to win this game, and he went for wins and losses. I don't care about that at all. But he did go 4-0 this month. Didn't lose today, so it'll look better down the line. And I mean, Bowman had a bunch of stats about this. Like he's up there with like Chris Medlin and Greg Maddux and stuff, and like Braves history of best months. It's crazy.
Thank God it rained in Bristol.
Absolutely. Other than that, today, I mean, do you want to talk about Vidal Brujan hitting for Sean Murphy?
So behind the scenes here, Brad and I have been trying to schedule this podcast all day because it's Labor Day weekend. And so I was out most of the day. I was following the game on my phone. So when I sat down here right before we started recording, Brad just kind of walked me through all the particulars of the game to make sure I had it all. And at one point he says, yeah, Brujan pitch hit for Sean Murphy. And I was sure he misspoke. Like there's no way that Brujan, who has a like career, 40 WRC plus pinch hit for Sean Murphy. And we were both so confused about it. Brad actually went back and double checked the box score to make sure he didn't like misremember.
Yes.
But no, that's what happened. And I'm glad I wasn't watching at the time because I probably would have tweeted some stuff about it.
It was very, very odd. And it was in the 8th inning. So it was before the walk-off. It was the Braves did load the bases in the 8th. They were down 1-0. If anyone missed this, they load the bases with nobody out in typical Braves fashion. It was an infield single by Brujan and then a couple of walks. And I made this observation on Twitter, but our friends at DraftKings, I checked their live odds. The Braves were favored to win. The Braves were the betting favorite to win the game while they were losing in the 8th inning. They were down 1-0 in the 8th, but when it was bases loaded, nobody out, pitching change, they had Matt Olson, Ronald Acuna, Ozzie Albies, Michael Harris coming up. They were favored to win the game. And of course, I'll borrow from you, Steve. The Braves have a knack this season of getting the least out of every single rally. And Olson didn't have a great play appearance, but like RBI ground out is fine there. Like no double play, no force out at home. You score a run, and now you have second and third for Ronnie with 1 out. I got to be honest with you, Steven. I was shocked that they pitched to Ronnie. I don't know why they pitched to Ronnie. If I was a Phillies fan, I would have been pulling my hair out. Like, why are you pitching to Ronald Acuna right now? But Ronnie had a pretty bad at bat by his standards, struck out looking, so that worked out for them. They then walk Ozzie, which makes sense because it's a lefty pitching to face Michael Harris, and his lefty splits are what they are, even though he's been hot recently. And he grounds out. So that was the end of the inning. And I gotta be I thought they were going to lose the game almost certainly. they had tied the game, but I was like, all right, that's one of those that we'll be talking about on the podcast later tonight. And then the Baldwin thing happens moments later. So strange thing. I brought it up to twist the knife at you, but yeah, they hit Vidal Brujan for Sean Murphy. I don't know why they did that.
I looked it up just to make sure I wasn't crazy.
Yeah,
Vidal Brujan for his career has a 52 WRC plus, which is lower than Nick Allen, by the way.
Yeah, he's not a very good hitter. And just so everybody knows, I will say it. I will say it out loud. Sean Murphy's been a pretty bad hitter for a couple of months now.
Sure,
I'll acknowledge that.
Sure.
Certainly, even I know we are high on Murphy compared to the consensus, or we compared to angry Braves fans. But I still don't understand why you would hit Vidal Brujan for him. So if you want to hit Baldwin for him, whatever. But also the plan was clearly to hit Baldwin for Allen, which makes sense. Nick Allen should be pinch hit for any situation that you could possibly imagine at the end of the game. As long as you have someone on your bench who can play shortstop, you have to hit for Nick Allen. That's how bad of a hitter he is. So that makes sense. But you didn't need to do anyway. We can move on. It's not a playoff podcast. If this is a playoff show and that happened, it would have been 30 minutes. It would have been a 30-minute discussion, and we won't do that now. Hey, shout out to John Brevia, who's back on the roster, and he pitched today in a one-run game. So and pitched well, actually.
September honestly might be like a game show of like, who do you think pitched today for the Braves, and do you know where that player was 10 days ago?
John Brevia was in Gwinnett because he was actually quite good in Gwinnett. I don't know why I know that, but I do. But it was, the Braves actually had a great bull. I mean, as good as Waldrep was, the bullpen was just as good. They allowed one hit. It was kind of funny. The only hit allowed by the bullpen was by Dylan Dodd, and it was a triple to Kyle Schwarber, who's not fleet of foot. In case you didn't know about Kyle Schwarber, he's good at many things. Running, not one of those things. I'm actually pulling up his StatCast sprint speed right now. He is 14th percentile in sprint speed. That's quite slow.
Was that just like out to like the Bermuda Triangle out there?
It was in the right spot. I mean, okay. it was
not really like it's not really like a triples park.
No, it was just in the right spot. It's hard to describe, but it was an odd situation. Also, Dodd threw 3 pitches total and got an out and allowed a triple. It was a measure. And then Tyler Kinley, who's been good. We mentioned it on the show last week, but Tyler Kinley been good. And then Iglesias has been awesome, honestly, recently. Speaking of guys who have saved their season-long outputs, Rysell's ERA is down to 3.8.
I can't believe he's pitching for the Braves.
I can't either. We did that rant a lot about a month ago now. But at one point in the season, and it was like pretty deep in the season, his ERA was like in the high 6s.
Yeah.
And now it's down to the 3s and dropping. Like he's been really, really good for about, 2.5, 3 months now. And it doesn't matter, of course, for anything that matters for the Braves, but it happened.
I'm sure his agent appreciates it.
Yes, I'm confident his agent is loving the fact that he stayed on the Braves and is pitching well because that will help him for his next deal. And by the way, there's legitimate conversations that will be had about whether he should come back to the Braves. We'll save that for later.
100%,
but the Braves are going to be a team that could sign him, and people are going to hate it, and I get it. But if you look just a shade under the surface about like what he has been for a lot of the season, he's been good. All right, Steven, I'm gonna get you out of here. It's late, but a little bit of a preview. People, I'm sure, I know we have the sickos, and I mean that in a loving, endearing way, who will listen to this before first pitch on Monday. The Braves play in Chicago against the Cubs, so they have to fly from Philadelphia late night and play a 4:00 game, 3:00 local game in Chicago on Labor Day. The reason that game is interesting beyond normal things is that Spencer Strider's pitching. And they gave him an extra day of rest, which they've been doing. They ran a six-man rotation for a while. They've taken Quantrill out of it. They put Sale in it. But they had the reason to do that. But it was clearly a calculated decision to give Strider an extra day. He was on track to pitch this weekend. He didn't pitch. But he threw really well, which you guys broke down this last week on the show. But what do you make of that? And also, like, just setting the stage, he is probably the headline attraction on Monday afternoon.
Yeah, so pitching at Wrigley is a bit like its own world. There's not really another park like it where the wind so drastically impacts how the park plays.
Yep.
It can be literally an extreme hitter's park or an extreme pitcher's park, and it can change like hour to hour. It actually seems like it'd be pretty miserable to have to pitch there all the time. So like when we wake up in the morning, first thing you're going to see is somebody tweet about, what the wind's doing at Wrigley, and that's going to impact how the game goes.
Yep.
And I guarantee you, if you're pitching that day, you want to know that information. So the park is going to play a factor. The Cubs are one of the top probably 5 offenses in baseball this year. They have been just, I'm not going to say like a top 1% outcome for them, but offensively, probably like a top 5 or 10% outcome for them, given their talent level. I did not see this coming. Pete Crow Armstrong had that incredible first half. Him and Michael Harris have kind of done this opposite.
Yeah, they have. That's true.
He hasn't been quite as good, but they've got a really good lineup, and that's going to be tough. And if the wind's blowing out tomorrow, they hit a lot of homers. Spencer's going to have to be very good. And we watched him make adjustments in his last outing. We broke it down. So this is going to be another data point to see if he's mixing up his pitches more, how much he throws the fastball, where he's throwing the fastball. Every time he pitches now to the end of the season, it's going to be an interesting thing to watch.
I just realized the Cubs played on Sunday in Colorado.
Yeah.
And didn't get an off day coming back either. So I'll call that a neutral game state. The Braves played later in the day, but the Cubs had to fly back from Colorado. So that's not as bad as it seems on paper. I'm assuming they're only playing because it's Labor Day, because otherwise, why would they not be playing? Because they have the Braves have Thursday off. So I don't know if the Cubs do, but regardless, we'll get to all of that later on this week. It's a 3-game series in Chicago, and then the Braves come back home for 3 straight series at home after this one. So a long homestand, and the Cubs are good, to your point. So not quite the same spoiler energy that it is when you're playing the Phillies. It's a little bit easier to root for losses if you are that kind of fan that wants to root for draft position. You probably could do that a little bit easier against the Cubs, where the official investment is less, because it's the next set. In fact, they don't play the Phillies or Mets again this year. Famously, they're done with Phillies, done with Mets. It's all normal, non-blood rival teams. Other than Washington, Washington's been bad for so long now that I don't know about you, Steven. My personal vitriol for the Nationals is pretty low at this point. I don't hate the current Nationals don't move me in any direction.
I think it goes Mets, Phillies, Marlins, Nationals for me.
Yeah, Mets and Phillies are 1A, 1B. That could change by the day. But yeah, I think Marlins, given the recent history, are ahead of the Nationals, and that's changed. The Nationals, when they were good, there was some there.
When they had Harper and Soto, it was different.
But not anymore. They do see them play. They do see them 2 more series, but it's Cubs, Mariners, Cubs, Astros, Nationals, Tigers, Nationals, Pirates. Not a ton of juice, honestly.
Yeah, that's a weird collection of teams to end the season.
It is, but hey, at least they're not playing for anything at the end of the season. All right, Steven, I appreciate you doing this with me on a Sunday. You're not like pinch hitting, but like it's not our normal thing. So I appreciate your flexibility. For folks that may not already follow your work, if someone found us that was perhaps a Phillies fan that follows the Phillies show, where can they find all your music on social media, Steven?
Yeah, B_outliers is the X handle. If you want to come talk about the Braves, if you want to talk about how bad Alabama football is, we can do that.
I listen, I have great discipline. Sean would have brought it up 45 minutes ago.
He's texted me 4 times.
I'm sure he has. And we got a YouTube comment, and now that we're at the end of the show, we can bring this up now. A YouTube comment that was like, college football, is this the right place for this? And I'm thinking, it was the end of the show. Like, we live in the South. Like, it's just kind of what people do in the South. Like,
especially when the Braves are terrible. The
Braves are terrible. Look, we're not going to pivot to college football talk on the podcast. If we ever do it, it's going to be at the end of the show, like we are right now. But I wasn't going to bring it up to you at any point. But you brought it up. So it wasn't the best.
Listen, my 20s and 30s were spent winning like a national championship every 3 years. So I had people tweeting at me like, sorry about, guys, I've experienced more winning than most people do in their lifetime. So if we're going to suck for a few years, it is what
that's a very rational. Are you sure you're from the South?
I also have the joy of like being a big college basketball fan, which a lot of people in my fan base aren't.
That's true.
They live and die by the football team. And when the football team's bad, they have to wait a whole nother year to care about anything. I don't exist that way. I have other sports that I love.
And Alabama basketball is good. So
Alabama basketball is very good. The Falcons are about to start back up, which
let's not talk about that because that's our other. You and I share 2 teams, and well, actually, we play 3 teams. My Hawks fandom is long gone. I cover.
Yeah, I don't really consider you a Hawks fan. You cover the team. So.
I used to be a Hawks fan, and now I cover the team. It's different. Yeah. It's much different. But anyway, that's a different story. Steven, thank you for being here. As for everybody else, please subscribe to Hammer Territory anywhere you get your podcast. If you made it this far, we appreciate you. Like us on YouTube, ratings and reviews. Tell your friends, and we'll see everybody next time.